my outline that I didn't write at all.
What?
What, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know if you guys knew that about me.
I didn't.
I thought I was an outline.
We ready?
We're on YouTube?
I'm waiting. Yes, we are.
Nice. All right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Host.
Greetings, Earthlings. I'm your glorious, all-knowing leader, Ravi. I'm joined by my two brothers, Krishna and Arjuna. Today we're talking about a Netflix reality show that might have been inspired by myself because there are more than a few strange parallels. Plus, we of course have to discuss the ongoing shit show that is Tenet. And even more importantly, what the actual fuck happened to Ray Park, a.k.a. Darth Maul, because that guy has lost his damn mind, and we'll discuss it in a bit. But let's just say at the top, Disney ain't happy, and that makes me a little happy for some reason.
Wow, Ravi.
I know.
You're a little bit vengeful.
I had a tough time reading that intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this.
There was a few stumbles.
There was a few stumbles, and I will kind of put a disclaimer on our intro. When it comes to the Ray Park news, which we'll kind of discuss in a little bit.
This was before I had the updated information.
This is before information went out, but this is actually, I think we should start with the Ray Park stuff, actually. So, like within Krishna's intro, unfortunately, just to kind of summarize what happened, I believe it was Friday? Was it Thursday, Friday of this past week?
I think it was Friday. Friday sounds about right.
A sexual image of a man and a woman performing oral went on Ray Park's Instagram. And a lot of people, based on the captioning and everything, believe that it was revenge porn, which, in the state of California, that's illegal. Big time illegal. You can actually go to jail for that shit. Things then got even more crazy because then rumors started flying around on Twitter that Ray Park's wife was having an affair with Daniel Logan, who is the young actor who played young Boba Fett in episode 2. And then some other crazy shit happened where supposedly their kids were firing off tweets saying that Ray Park was, abusive and insane, etc. The point being, today or over the weekend, Lisa Park, Ray Park's wife, came out and said that all these things aren't true. And, people need to kind of calm down and chill. The family, as of today, as of recording this podcast, they still have not officially said anything, if any of it's true or what's going on. But what's interesting, though, is the initial reaction and the reaction since then is everyone saw all this information and decided it's all true. Ray Park's a bad guy, and that's the end of it. But unfortunately, the information that we've been presented doesn't necessarily mean any of that's true. And Christian almost fell off of his chair.
I'm
hearing this information.
I'm so shocked. I mean,
but this is
this
is a Class A example of where people get a hold of some information, not all information, and they have decided, air quotes, cancel Ray Park essentially. But yes.
So is it looking more like it's kind of a prank by someone? Someone leaked or got something, started a rumor online, and it caught like wildfire?
Honestly, we just don't know.
Yeah.
I think it would be reckless to speculate. The fact is, there was a pornographic image put on his Instagram. We don't know how it got there, who put it there, or what. And I think that's the problem just in general with media throughout the years and everything. Everyone wants the full story immediately, but you can't always have it immediately because there's complexities and layers to any type of story. So who knows what actually happened? There might be none of it might be true, or all of it might be true, or we just don't know. So I don't know. I honestly don't know.
The other angle to this whole story that is disturbing is the baseline of everything is that supposedly Ray Park put this image out of someone that is his wife or not his wife or whoever. But he did it because part of this whole rumor is that he was cheated on, right? So he put out revenge porn. And you had people on Twitter, Star Wars fans, that were defending this action. Now, regardless if he did it or didn't do it, you never do this. And the fact that people are saying that it's okay because he cheated is really, really fucked up.
Or he got cheated.
He got cheated on. Yeah.
Well, Star Wars fans are not the
No!
Let's be honest. They are not the greatest human beings on the planet. I'm not saying every single Star Wars fan, but there is definitely a group of very passionate Star Wars fans that like to internet bully and make their opinions very vocal. And I'm batching in the Star Wars fans that say Kathleen Kennedy can't lead Star Wars because she's a woman, that had a problem with Finn because he was a black stormtrooper, and Rey because she was a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, these fans are problematic, right? Or people that told the actor who played Jar Jar Binks to go kill himself.
Yeah.
Like, it's been there for years, for decades. And, yeah, I mean, you're gonna get crazies for any type of fan base, unfortunately.
Yeah, Star Wars attracts the worst.
I don't remember the Star Wars fans back in the 70s and 80s, though, like, being this fucking insane.
Well, granted, we weren't alive.
I was.
You were alive at the late 80s.
Still in the 80s, though.
Yeah, but you weren't even conscious of fandom until the 90s.
You don't know what I was thinking.
Well,
I don't even know what I was thinking.
Exactly.
I think there's two reasons for that, right? Back then, the franchise is less established. You had three great movies.
Some would argue that the sixth movie, the third one, isn't that good.
Right, sure. But the second reason, which is the bigger reason, is they didn't have the outlet to make their voices heard and known. If they had, it probably would be just as bad, but they didn't. And so that was a better time. Or at least it was a quieter time.
Right. Yeah, for sure. You just had the movies. You didn't have movies and TV shows and spin-offs and everything.
You had movies
Extra
and
media.
toys.
Yeah.
So
There was less to argue about.
Before we jump out of this section, a couple comments here on the Twitch. Those listening, if you ever want to join in the conversation, definitely check out every Monday, twitch.tv/wasitgood. We have people going and saying that
worse than Rick and Morty fans.
Yeah, Star Wars fans are worse than Rick and Morty fans?
No, I think this person, Lag and Cheese, is saying that Rick and Morty fans are worse. Actually, Arjuna, maybe you could chime in here. I don't know too much about the Rick and Morty fandom. All I know is it's a great show. That's all I know.
I mean, every fandom has toxic fans, and there are definitely toxic Rick and Morty fans.
Really? What do they complain? Or what do they?
Where do they go?
What's up their butt?
I mean, a lot of it is about the continuity and all this type of because people. The reason people love Rick and Morty, right? It's an animated show, and it looks like there's no continuity. It's very Simpsons-esque, but at least in the first few seasons, there's a tightly wound continuity. And any time that it breaks or something different, a lot of those people go off and go crazy.
Really?
And also, like Rick and Morty fans feel so attached to Rick and Morty that they have to, yeah. As Lag and G says, there was the whole season 3 Szechuan sauce incident, and then they spammed McDonald's to bring it back. And there's just a lot of those types of things where they attach themselves to a joke, and they become a joke killer themselves.
Yeah.
Arjuna's
become the very thing they vowed not to become.
Arjuna's old AOL Instant Messenger.
Or even like there was the Pickle Rick episode, and then
great episode.
that became a huge thing, a huge rallying call.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think anything is going to attract people, and then there's a spectrum of how much passion they put into it, and then also how crazy they are.
I mean, look at sports, right? Like sports is one of the original fandoms. Of people, if you want to talk about toxic fans, like there's plenty of that in your stadium.
Did you just provide the perfect segue?
I mean, I'm not the host.
Speaking of sports,
Yeah,
some interesting news. We primarily talk about movie, TV shows, but all forms of entertainment, can be discussed here. As we know, we're living in one of the craziest pandemics of recent memory.
Just of 2020.
Just of 2020, and as we're kind of gearing back up for a normal world, whatever that looks like, MLB obviously kicked off their season. What is it, July 23rd, I want to say, roughly is the day. And, Last Thursday. And not even a week has gone by, and MLB's already canceling games because, lo and behold, players got coronavirus.
Shocker.
Not just players.
Big time.
15 members of the Marlins organization.
Who are based
coaches.
Who are based in Florida.
In
I
Miami.
think that is the joke. That's the joke, is that the team that has gotten hit the hardest
is Florida.
Is from Florida.
I mean,
and is that
one of the funny jokes is the Red Sox Yankee fans going off because the Marlins general manager / owner, one of the partners of the ownership is Derek Jeter, and people Red Sox fans are like, Nomar would never let this happen.
Oh no! Speaking of toxic fans, here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Toxic fans, right there. I mean, the original. I mean, sports. I mean, it makes sense. Fans, they get very passionate. We now live in an age where people allow anybody to really go and make content. Like, look at us.
Yeah,
we're out here making content, so people are going to voice their opinions, which I think is good and bad.
But are was it good fans toxic?
I mean,
no.
Our mom is a fan, so yes.
What?
Whoa.
Yes, mom is toxic.
I would say we have the greatest fans of any fandom ever. Of any multi-billion-dollar franchise, we have the best.
Our fans are having a side conversation in our chat right now, not even listening to us.
Which, by the way, is highly entertaining. Please keep it coming.
Seriously, that's some good stuff. But along with, obviously, the news today of a couple of MLB games being canceled, another funny thing popped up today, which is Warner Brothers decided to drop this bombshell. Everyone's favorite movie, directed by Arjuna's personal friend, Christopher Nolan, Tenet. They announced today that the movie will be coming out theatrically in theaters. But the interesting thing, and I kind of hope that Americans are paying attention to this, the interesting thing is the rest of the world gets to see it before we do. International release, I believe, is set for August 27th. Places like Canada, our friends up north, they're going to be getting it well before we do. The United States supposedly is going to be getting it, ready for this one, Labor Day weekend.
Was that September?
That's in September, early September. That is the joke right now is that, and to kind of put the icing on the cake, it is not a full every theater in the United States. It's going to be select cities.
Yeah.
So
cities which are the worst hit by the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've lost all respect for Christopher Nolan. I literally have. No.
Is it a Christopher Nolan thing or is it a Warner Brothers?
Okay, it's a Warner Brothers thing.
No. We have to go off the information we know before. Christopher Nolan had been the one pushing for the release. I don't think that changed all of a sudden. I don't think all of a sudden he woke up and grew a conscience because he didn't have one a month ago. He was the guy that was pushing for it. Warner Brothers was the one that wanted to delay it because, I mean, they say under the veil of this, of the pandemic, but they want to make money, and they know a limited release is not going to maximize their profits. So, no, this to me stinks of Christopher Nolan.
Well, what do you think, though? I think the international release makes so much sense. If other countries have beaten it, well, then, yeah, they should absolutely
How
have
many
that.
Americans are jumping the Canadian border
to go see this movie?
Oh,
God.
Speaking of toxic fandoms, that will determine that will determine how many toxic fans follow Christopher Nolan. Because Christopher Nolan has his own set of fans who will live and die by whatever he does. Right?
True,
Jared Quay's one of them. I'm kind of one of them, though I'm not going to risk my life to see Tenet.
So do we think we're going to see the Karens and the Kevins of the world go and like protest, like at City Hall and stuff, be like, oh, open up the movie theater so I could fucking go see Tenet?
Yes.
Oh, I hope so.
Absolutely.
I hope it gets to that level.
I think people are on that same level of stupidity, unfortunately, as Christopher Nolan, where he's like, I gotta save the movie industry. I'm gonna release this movie and kill a bunch of people. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. This is wow. I don't
So wait,
know.
real
I don't know
quick,
what to say.
do we think like such great famous morons like Elon Musk? Do you think like they hang out with like Christopher Nolan and they're like, oh yeah, let's kickstart the entire economy and get everything back up and running again?
All right, I just have to read this comment because it is brilliant by Lag and Cheese. Maybe the coronavirus will fall apart in the third wave, just like Nolan's movies fall apart in the third act.
Oh,
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's good. But to go back
Well
to your
done.
point, yes.
Wait, what?
Like I imagine like so like in terms of like billionaires or millionaires or whoever wanting to open things back up, Elon Musk, came out, was it yesterday, Sunday or something? Went to Twitter, everyone's going on about how Americans don't need a second stimulus check. We should just open the economy, everything will be okay. So my question is, do like Christopher Nolan's and Elon Musk's and let's throw Kanye West in there for fuck's sake. But is there like some weird like disjointed text thread or Slack room that they're all a part of, where it's like, all right, Nolan, engaged, getting people to go see fucking Tenet. Elon will get the gigawatt factories open, and Kanye go run for president.
Well, first off, Kanye, we should mention, Kanye does have severe mental health issues. He is bipolar. They're trying to get him help. As for Elon and Christopher Nolan, I don't know what their excuse is, or what the that they don't have any documented mental health illnesses to be saying these types of things, but they still are, and they're still trying to push this stuff. I think it just comes down to
greed,
circumstances, and it comes down to your perspective, right? These guys are multi-billionaires, so they don't.
Was Nolan a billionaire?
Well, a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
He's a millionaire.
He's just richer than me.
He's wealthy, right? They live very different lives than you and I and most people who are living through this pandemic. So they're like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you just hire people to, like, wipe your mansion down. And, like, they live very different and pampered lives. Their perspectives are different.
Yeah.
You know? It's like the whole Ellen DeGeneres thing that's going on right now, right?
What's happened with Ellen?
So all the rumors coming out about Ellen being not a nice person on her show, becoming a diva, and people are like, how did this happen? She used to be such a nice person. I'm like, when you take an ordinary person and they live as a millionaire for X amount of time, you're going to change.
Yeah.
You see this with the Elon Musk.
You see it with athletes. Athletes
yeah,
all
exactly.
the time. All the time.
You change when you live this pampered and different type of lifestyle, and your perspective changes. And I think that's exactly why you're seeing all of these millionaires and people be like, oh, yeah, it's super simple. Because, like, I'm not going to get sick. And if I do, you know, like, I can afford the best everything in the world. Well, you know, 95% of people can't and are scared and live around people who can be in danger and stuff. So, I don't think they're just – it's a text thread. I think it's just
group mentality?
It's not a group mentality. What's the words I'm looking for? It's an entitled perspective, essentially.
Greed.
Jeez.
I think it's greed as well. I mean, that they make X amount of money from things going a certain way, and they want to get those things back to normal so they can make their millions and billions of dollars. I mean, it's greed. I think at the end of the day, that's you know, one of those cardinal sins. So
Who's the cardinal?
I don't know. The cardinal. So that's all we have to say about that, potentially.
Just to wrap up kind of the funny release dates of things, Disney also put out their theatrical calendar. A couple things of interest. They pushed back a lot of the untitled Star Wars films back a year for each of them. Full year for all of them. So now they were originally going to kick off in 2022. I believe now it's going to kick off in 2023.
Yeah,
something around that. But the one thing that was really interesting that stood out, Mulan has been completely removed from any theatrical calendar release date. Which honestly, based on, you know, what happened with the main actress, who's, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name, unfortunately, but she did come out and say a couple of things. This feels like a lifetime ago. Last year about, you know, the stuff in Hong Kong. I don't think it's that big of a deal if the movie never comes out. But, you know, once again, that's because of one individual. Maybe they could go and deepfake and replace her. I don't know.
No, honestly, I feel like Mulan would work. You could release that as like a VOD or like a drive-in type of movie. Like, the reason Tenet doesn't work that way is because Christopher Nolan loves his IMAX and his horn sounds in the movies and stuff. But I guess we'll see. You know, in terms of where that goes, I'm sure they have a plan. Or maybe it just gets, you know, we'll go back to the sequel on VHS days. It goes straight to VHS.
VHS.
Well,
not DVD.
What
VHS.
Well, the new term is going straight to Netflix, isn't it?
Well, they call it VOD.
VOD.
A VOD release. Digital.
VOD.
Yes.
Okay, jumping back a little bit. So Arjuna, you recently discovered a new Netflix reality show.
So it's not actually classified as a reality show, right? Reality indicates that they're producers and they manipulate events in some way, shape, or form. This is actually classified as a Netflix documentary series.
Oh boy. I mean, isn't documentary still a little bit reality?
Yeah, there's definitely some manipulation, but I guess I don't know what the formula is for manipulation to non-manipulation ratio to go from documentary to reality show.
So you watched this Indian Matchmaking, and it's called Indian Matchmaking.
Yes.
Original name. Love
the
it.
Show. That's the show
Love the
title.
name.
It's very to the point. You know exactly what
that.
it is. Yeah. Indian Matchmaking.
What?
Okay.
What's it about? What is it exactly?
Okay, so the show follows a famous Indian matchmaker. She was actually featured in a documentary a couple years ago. Her name is Seema. She always introduces herself as Seema from Mumbai. So Seema from Mumbai. She's this very famous Indian matchmaker.
Sorry, real
Go
quick. Before we dive in a little bit, what's a matchmaker? Like, what's the definition? Because I have my idea of what it is.
Sure.
But what's like the official?
So a matchmaker is someone that is basically hired by a person or a family, an Indian family generally. Like this is a very Indian thing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
Didn't know that.
to match a person with another person. So basically introduce them, and then they could potentially get married, like to meet, and then with the idea of getting married. It's like an arranged marriage, right? So like in Indian culture and like Hindu culture and everything, arranged marriages were a big thing. This is just a person that professionally does it, and
So it's kind of like a real life version of Tinder.
yeah, exactly. It's
Tinder come to life.
So it's not quite arranging a marriage. It's just setting people up to see if they work together.
They match, right? And they have they talk about biodata a lot, right? So
Whoa.
they get a lot of information like height, weight.
Oh yes, you got to make sure it matches.
Where you're from, what's your family background, your religion, your
Star sign.
your hobbies, star sign. Astrology is a big thing in the entire show. Like she meets with a lot of astrologists to see like do their star signs and everything match up and are they compatible. And it's actually fascinating because there's like one scene in the documentary series where she basically has like a full grid and she like grids out people. It's almost like math, like breaking down a human being to like numbers in math. It's like I'm gonna grade you out and you're like this, and does this person match? Like,
That's very
your
Indian.
Exactly.
Using math to try and figure it out. Oh,
Exactly. And it's cool. Like they have these basically like these one sheets. It has like little picture in the corner and like the basic info up here, and then a couple paragraphs on who they are. They hand them out and they show like the visual representations of them.
That's a good idea. For shallow people like me, there's only one criteria. Like, are they hot? It's not a bad idea to maybe get a little bit deeper dive of a person.
And one of our comments here, someone is making a suggestion that we pool our cash together and hire Christian or a matchmaker.
Oh my God!
I know what
our mother would love that.
Arjuna, I know what we're getting Christian for his birthday.
That sounds. Wait, first of all, in this age of coronavirus, we're talking at least.
I mean,
down
okay,
the road.
Christian, what if we did it for us, right? We documented it, and then we decided if it was like a good experience or not. Like,
was it good productions?
Yeah.
And then we could sell it to Netflix, and it will be
Yeah.
called Krishna Matchmaking.
Yeah.
Matchmaking for Krishna.
But the shtick has to be that I'm incompatible with anyone, so we can create multiple seasons, and every season that goes by, it gets more and more dire.
Krishna with a mustache. Krishna with a beard.
Yeah, exactly. And every season will have a different.
And then
thing.
like years later, it's like, oh man, do you remember season 3 when Christian decided to get a pet tiger?
The Tiger King.
The
crossover.
Tiger King.
Wait, no, but
season.
hold on. But it was a stuffed
tiger.
Stuffed tiger.
Oh,
The comment section's blowing up right now. Everyone's saying this is a brilliant idea. One person asked, "What is your criteria?"
Well, I mean, are they easy on the eyes?
What the fuck?
That is really my only criteria. I used to have a long list in my early 20s, and every year that's gone by, it gets smaller. And
You
smaller
actually
and
wrote
smaller.
down like a list of what?
No, I never wrote it down.
Oh.
It's more just like
mental like.
Yeah. Like they have to have a good career. And, it's
Smart.
just all these like different
Gotcha.
things, and it's actually gone smaller.
So
as the years
that's
go
what's
by.
interesting, right? Each time you see Seema from Mumbai meet with a person, she talks to them and asks them like, "What's your criteria?" And some people have very specific criteria.
Oh.
Like one woman is like, "I want someone between 5'6" and 5'9",
What the
and
fuck?
I want them between the ages of 31 to 35. I don't want them to be a lawyer like me. I want them to not be funny. I want them to be adventurous. I want them to want to travel but not be outdoorsy."
All right, so I have criteria.
Is this
There's
is this a real person on the show?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I don't want them to be funny.
Yeah,
She's
like that's hilarious.
Her reasoning was like, "I've dated the funny man and I don't like them."
You don't like that? Oh my god.
God, you must be a boring individual.
So my criteria.
So the person I was specifically describing, was probably the person most viewers disliked the most. Like she's.
Was that Aparna by chance?
Yes, Aparna.
Thank you, sir. Harold.
It was the one. She's from Texas. Was a lawyer. Like she goes on one date and there's the other guy's a lawyer and she's really skeptical about doing this. And she's like, yeah, so, like, what made you become a lawyer? He's like, oh, I really like being a lawyer. Like, I like my job and everything. She's like, really? That's weird to me. I hate being a lawyer.
This woman sounds
I'm like,
terrible.
what the hell?
Maybe.
Why do you even do it?
So it sounds like the shtick of being incompatible with everyone on the planet has already been done.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It was done in this season of Indian Matchmaking.
The people that she's matching up, are they strictly Indian, or is she doing, like, everybody and anybody?
They're from Indian families. So
Gotcha.
there's like one woman who is Guyanese. She lives in New York, and
New York City,
of course
I'm
she does.
assuming?
Yeah.
Say again?
New York City, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
She lives in Queens.
Yes.
Maybe I don't know
No,
if exactly
absolutely
which city
lives in
it
Queens.
was.
Yeah.
And
She's Guyanese.
it was cool.
She's neighbors with Cheshire Buddy.
Neighbors with her uncle.
It was so to me that was like a really cool moment because like we have kind of a similar background, right? Like we are Indian, but we've never been to India, and none of our grandparents were born in India.
And our dad was born in Guyana,
Yeah.
just like this person.
So they were like we are Guyanese, but like the origin is Indian, right? And so it's kind of cool to see that represented and see somebody else explain that.
What about the other two parallels?
Wait, Arjuna, when you saw that piece, did you jump up and scream, "Oh my God, I feel represented"?
Yes, I
Hollywood
cried.
represents me.
I cried. No. But no, it was cool to see that. And what was interesting is kind of, and you guys kind of know this, obviously, growing up in an Indian family. She talked about how it was difficult for her to date other Indian people because they looked down on her because she wasn't from India. She wasn't from an Indian family directly from India.
Our situation was a little bit different.
For sure.
Because we grew up in a place where there were no other Indians. We may have been the only ones for miles and miles.
But so it was interesting because the show did bring up like the caste system and how important family is and kind of judgmental. Like there's even one part where the matchmaker is like, well, this woman's kind of large and she isn't pretty on the eyes, so we have to focus on other things. And like it's very blunt.
Oof.
Like some of it is very blunt.
Brutal.
And it's just like, ooh, this is
So
tough.
this is not a PC show.
No, definitely not. And I think
Interesting.
there was a lot of backlash to the show because that side was shown.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's very interesting.
I mean, so if they're listing themselves as a documentary, then
They need to capture the reality.
Exactly, they're
Yeah.
allowed to like show
Yeah,
the negativity
exactly.
of this whole thing.
and it was interesting because you had a lot like they showed you some of her clients from India and then some of the ones in America.
That's cool.
And
Oh,
like
cool.
a lot of the Indian ones were super fucking rich. Like there was one guy, he had a keypad on his walk-in closet. That's how rich he was.
I'm
Well-
sorry. Real quick, just so everyone's aware and people listening at home. So if you want to be considered rich to Arjuna, just get a keypad and put it in your closet, and then you're rich.
No, you have to see these people's like houses and stuff.
But it makes sense that
their
they would be rich, and you're hiring a professional like matchmaker.
They can
then
afford it.
They can
Yeah,
afford
yeah.
it. Yeah.
There was like another guy in India. His name was like Akshay, and his mother was just like, "You need to get married by December. I'm giving you 3 choices. If you don't pick, I'm going to pick." It was just very intense.
Yeah. Weren't there a couple other characters who might relate to someone specific?
Yeah. So there were some interesting things. There's a guy from Texas, and when they showed you the biodata, he was born in Derry, New Hampshire.
Which is, by the way, where we pretty much grew up.
Grew up for a lot.
Derry,
of our
New
lives.
Hampshire.
Yeah. And then Nadia, who was the Guyanese woman, I think she went on a date with a guy named Ravi. Yeah.
Not me. I haven't left this bubble, so
And I think
can't be mad at me.
fun fact about the Ravi guy, he like ghosted her twice.
Wow.
Don't we have a cousin named Nadia as well?
Yes.
So this show is basically
It was.
this show is basically our different aspects of our life, but like people become alive from those individual aspects.
Yeah.
That's
And
weird.
then there was another Indian who's born in the UK. We were born in the UK. When I watched the show, I was in Pasadena. There was like another person who was like born in Pasadena. I'm like, they're listening to my conversations or something.
Either that or we actually live the most
Stereotypical.
stereotypical Indian immigrant lives ever. Everything we've
And
done
we don't
is what
realize
every
that?
Indian was what every other Indian who's moved away from India does. We're just doing the
hold
same
on.
thing.
Then
That's
there
the
was
best
another
part.
character who played the guy who was born in Derry, New Hampshire. One of his hobbies was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my God, this is creepy.
The only thing I couldn't find related to us was the professions. Like they were all
Doctors and lawyers.
no, they weren't
Oh.
all doctors and lawyers. Like there was one guy, like the guy in Texas who's from Derry was like a guidance counselor at a school.
Ugh.
There was one of the women in India had started her own like clothing line, but no one was like in our industry in terms of like media or anything. So
That's
that was the
because
one thing I didn't.
That's
find.
because they all wanted to, pick fulfilling and like meaningful careers that actually like have an impact on the fucking world.
Oh my
Good
God.
for them.
Oh my God.
But Arjuna, would you say Indian Matchmaking was good?
Yeah, actually, I would say it was good. Netflix has been doing a lot of these different dating type of shows recently, and they are very documentary style. And this one was interesting and well done and well shot, and I enjoyed it, and I would watch a second season.
Wow.
If they
How
did come
how
up
long
with
are episodes?
They range they range from like 30 to 45 minutes. I think there was like 8 episodes. It's interesting. It's definitely worth a watch.
I need a new dinner show
There you go.
or breakfast show. So
It's interesting, and it's funny what they cut together.
nice.
Spoiler: do you want me to spoil the show for you at all?
No.
Okay,
'Cause I'll probably watch it.
I won't
so.
spoil it for you, but it is
Yeah.
interesting. You should do some research on the show after you're done watching it.
Cool.
I will say that to see what
Hit up the
happened.
SEMA matchmaker lady and be like, hey, I need perfection.
Krishna, if you're willing to
Find
be
it.
documented with it, Ravi and I will invest
Wow.
for the podcast.
Well, we'll see. Well, let me watch.
We'll
the
start.
show
We'll
first.
start a GoFund.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you viewers out there, if you want to see Krishna end up with somebody, give us money now.
Yes. www.internet.com/give me
This
money.
feels like manipulation. I'm not comfortable with this.
So okay, so that's
Anyways.
cool. Moving on here, and keeping it within Christian's sphere of baldness. Christian recently decided to take on the daunting task of watching 6 seasons of Community.
This wasn't that daunting.
I mean, some of those seasons are god awful.
They're not great, but you know what?
Really, those last 3 seasons are god awful.
They're not god awful. Okay?
They're just a steep decline from the first 3
absolutely.
seasons.
They are a terrible decline. So if anyone hasn't seen the show Community, it basically follows these initially 7 outside of the box sort of students who sign up at community college and they start a study group to learn Spanish. And very quickly shenanigans ensue. That's basically the premise of the show right there. I watched all 6 seasons. The first 3 seasons are some of the best television, best comedic television there is, in my opinion. And the reason I actually started watching that show is because we got into a little bit of a, not an argument, but like a tiff, where you were saying Community is one of the best shows, one of the most entertaining shows. And I was like, I don't know if it is, right? Because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I never actually finished it either.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's kind of why I started to rewatch it. I was
Yeah.
like,
Is it
Juna
as
right?
good?
Is Juna right, or am I right? And it turns out we're both right. The first 3
seasons are some
seasons,
of the best.
some of the best.
And I think I did preface.
Funniest-
I think I did preface
Yeah.
it by saying.
and some of the most unique. Right? They're just the characters. Like especially through the eyes of Abed, like a very unique way of being meta. Right? A lot of fourth wall breaking and all that jazz. But the last 3 seasons are just so different. Really, and I actually enjoyed the 4th season. I really think it lost its steam in the 5th season. The 5th season the 5th season to me feels the most alien. And I think that's the season where Troy leaves after the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
That's when he goes on the boat trip with LeVar Burton.
Right. Goes on the boat trip and never returns, when I was really hoping that he would return, and he didn't.
Did you know he didn't return when you were watching it?
No, because I had never seen the last
couple seasons.
2 seasons.
Yeah, I
5 and
gotcha.
6 were like totally new to me. But kind of like The Office. When I rewatched The Office a few months ago, I found myself enjoying the what was I gonna say? I watched all of The Office, and the last few seasons aren't good, but there were still episodes that I really enjoyed, and that like saved the whole experience for me. Same thing in Community. Like, there are still a few episodes in there that I, laughed out loud. Now, there were few and far between, just like The Office, but they were there. So, it's hard for me to say that the whole thing was garbage because there are still, like, gems in there that I enjoyed. So, that's what I'm going to say
One
about
of our
that.
commenters says, and this is true, so
There
was the show had a troubled production, right? After season 3, Dan Harmon was actually fired. The creator of the show was fired by NBC from the show and didn't participate at all in the 4th season, which many fans considered the worst. And even in seasons 5 and 6, they even referred to it as the gas leak year or something like that, where that's how they kind of explain away why the characters might have been different in season 4. So a lot of people don't like season 4. Season 5 is weird because I believe Donald Glover leaves. Chevy Chase's last season was also season 4, so he was gone for season 5. And then season 6, they were gone, as well as Yvette Nicole Brown's Shirley character. So you had lost half of your original cast by the time you really were limping to the end of like who's left.
Literally
show.
limping. Yeah, putting in these other characters who are just like
fillers
compared to the original cast, kind of boring.
Yeah.
They don't bring anything that unique to the table. So that makes a lot of sense.
Have you watched any of the in the quarantine period now? A lot of show creators and actors have been doing kind of like those table reads, or those like one-off special. Have you watched any of the stuff with Dan Harmon and the cast?
I have not actually.
Check some of that stuff out.
Will.
They actually did one with, oh my God, the actor that plays the Mandalorian.
Pedro Pascal.
Thank you. They actually did one with Pedro Pascal, where it's the characters of the community, and Pedro Pascal is playing the Mandalorian.
What?
Yeah, it's weird, and Dan Harmon wrote him a piece, and it's quite funny.
Is it good?
It's very very
good.
funny.
I'll check that out for sure.
Now, do you think the decline in quality was because of the behind the scenes stuff, or just because of that natural? After you do 2 or 3 seasons of a show, you start to run out of steam. Especially a comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. You could point to maybe any comedy and be like, after about 3 years, you're starting to lose something.
I think honestly they ran out of stuff. It's the first 3 seasons are so creative.
Yeah.
And every episode is like really outside of the box. Like every week they were doing something very different. And I think just naturally after 3 seasons of that, obviously Dan Harmon getting fired doesn't help, but I think naturally though you're going to lose that originality. You've done it for 3 years now. We've done a lot. I don't say you never want to limit yourself creatively. You never want to say we've done everything there is to do. But perhaps as with those characters as they were, perhaps they had gone as far as they could, at least doing it well. So it's probably it's a confluence of all those things. Obviously, I personally would never have known about off-screen drama unless I go and read about it. That never came through in the performances. I never, obviously, like Chevy Chase is racist in the show. Who knew that he was racist outside of the show? I mean, I wouldn't have known that, right? I was like, he plays a really good racist. Like, it was based on something real, I guess. So, yeah, to me, the way that it was done, the show, is very much like a non-real comedy. Like, it's not meant to be like a slice of life, right? It's supposed to be ridiculous and out there. So to me, that helps it and keeping the off-screen drama away from the on-screen product. So yeah.
Best season?
Ooh, best season. I'm probably gonna say 2. I think season 2 was my favorite. It's hard because I binged it pretty much, so it's like they all sort of run together. But I think season 2 is my. Maybe season 3 was really good too. It's 2 or 3, easily 2 or 3, maybe both. I'll combine them.
Which paintball episode's your favorite?
Oh man, shoot, there's like 4 of them.
There's 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's because they do one in the last season.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man, I think the one with the guest appearance by the guy from Lost, who plays like he has like a cowboy hat, he's dressed in black, like the figure in black who goes around. He's like hired by the other school to like to paintball everyone so that the city college can win win the prize, that might be my favorite.
What's your favorite episode?
Oh my god. There's so many good ones. I'm going to say my favorite episode just off the top of my head. Don't ask me that. There's too many. There's too many. There's literally too many good ones. There's too many.
So overall, though, you would say, was it good?
Yeah, it's the first 3 seasons, the creativity, the humor, the outside the box, the fourth wall breaking, that it just makes it a great show all by itself. Like the last 3 or 4 seasons, there are still good stuff in there. You just gotta watch the whole thing to find them.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm gonna say Community it was good.
Dan Harmon has said multiple times that the death knell for the show was Donald Glover leaving at the during season 5, especially because season 5 was when he returned, and then he had to then write around Glover leaving, and then you just never really recover. You really can't recover from that. But it did live up to the mantra of 6 seasons. Now the question is,
are we getting that movie?
Will there be that movie?
I don't think so.
They've talked about the movie being Troy is lost at sea and been captured by pirates, and they have to go save him.
What the that might be really entertaining. What the fuck? Wait, Lost at Sea with
LeVar Burton.
With LeVar Burton.
There's actually, if you actually watch closely in seasons
hilarious.
5 and 6, there are hints dropped that they're
really
in trouble and captured at sea.
What?
So it's there.
One of the things that so there's the Community subreddit on Reddit.
Yeah.
And if you check that out, there's a lot of posts in there where when you watch it, binge it, you probably miss a lot of this, but there's a lot of like background stuff happening where there's I think it's in season 2 perhaps, where Abed helps deliver a baby, and it happens all in the background.
Yep.
What?
Like he befriends a pregnant girl at the school and then like helps deliver the baby at
what
the end.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's shit like that like throughout everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
like
have to rewatch the show just to look for that
There's
stuff.
the Beetlejuice reference where you say the word 3 times, and then like the 3rd time they actually say it in the show, you see like someone in a Beetlejuice costume actually walk by. Like, there's so much meta humor because that's Dan Harmon's thing. He's very meta. My only question with like what happened with Community is, could we see something like that happen with Rick and Morty?
Oh,
right?
definitely.
In terms of just, Dan Harmon is still a very volatile person. There was stuff that came out about him just recently, a year ago, in terms of some of his misconduct and stuff. And I know
what misconduct? Like, what is it?
I think just making female staff writers feel uncomfortable. A lot of that type of stuff. I know he's only half of Rick and Morty because Justin Roiland, I believe, is the other half. Is the other half, but Community Community in a lot of ways is a precursor to Rick and Morty, right? There's a lot of the same types of meta humor and loose continuity, tight continuity. Obviously, they're different formulas, with one being live action, one being a animated show. But I just wonder if the pitfalls in Community we could see one day happen in Rick and Morty. Because people have talked about Rick and Morty wanted to be this like anti-establishment show, but it's like, going against the grain and everything. But, they have the highest selling toys and merchandising and, the corporate dream. Is that what's going to happen? Like, is it just going to, Cartoon Network gave it that massive 80 episode order to make more episodes and everything. So
we'll see.
That's interesting.
Nothing lasts forever. So will it fizzle out? Will it know when it's done and end on a high note? That's really the only question, right? So we'll see.
Time will tell, they say.
Time will tell.
To kind of bring things home here with some of our remaining Was It News items. Obviously, we talked a little about Tenet, other movies, the Ray Park incident. A couple other fun things coming out of the Disney wheelhouse here. A Lando Disney Plus series. And before we get into the actual news, I'm just going to say, yes, I want this.
Really?
The end.
Donald Glover?
Yes, with Donald Glover.
Speaking with Donald Glover.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Could you imagine, like, oh, God, he did Lando, the character, he did such a really great job in Solo. I just watched Solo maybe like 2 weeks ago, and he by far is one of the best parts of that film. So a Disney Plus series, yes. I've greenlit it. Therefore, it's real.
Any other details around it? Is it just do we know time period? Would it be, I've heard of Lando show, though, with old Lando and hitchhiking across the galaxy with his daughter from the Rise of Skywalker.
So it looks
I
like
think that would have happened if that movie had been popular.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're being smart about it.
Yeah. So it says in the article that we're quoting right now, which is from Inverse.com, they are stating that the show would have Donald Glover. So it'd be that version of Donald Glover. So before episode 4. Yeah, before episode 4, Donald Glover. Because obviously he's running around the galaxy doing his own thing. We know that 3-4 years before the events of Yavin, Lando actually runs across Leia, helps her out with some stuff, and the crew of the Ghost.
Oh,
So there's a couple episodes in. So there's but there's still like a good 10-year chunk of him doing stuff that we could possibly see. So yeah.
I mean, beyond Orlando show, I really want the Crimson Dawn show. I know we were talking about Darth Maul a little bit earlier. A lot of the ideas in Solo, essentially, what's happening with Han, what's happening with Lando, what's happening with the criminal underground stuff that's happening between episodes 3 and 4, which is really the last, people have talked about a rumored Darth Maul show. That's the last uncovered part of a lot of those characters, honestly, that were set up in Solo and won't probably see the light of day in a theatrical movie, but I think would make a really cool Disney Plus type of show, because we have some stuff, obviously, between episodes 3 and 4. We have Rebels, but I think it would be cool to see sort of the non-Empire Rebel stuff and some of the bounty hunter smuggling stuff. And, a show like that could even inform The Mandalorian, right? Because The Mandalorian is very much about the criminal underground world, and you could have a lot of cool comparisons and contrasts between these two major events, right? These two major uprisings and wars. I think that'd be cool. Like that's what I'd want, like an ensemble cast. Like, just seriously bring back the whole cast of Solo. I mean, it's probably expensive and hard to do, but
impossible.
You know what's
crazy?
crazy?
It's impossible.
You know what's
I'm kidding.
Crazy is we're gonna have by the time we're done with the Darth Maul character, like I don't think it's a matter of if, it's a matter of when we'll see what Darth Maul does between episodes 3 and 4. After he leaves Ahsoka and all that. Like, we know he leaves at that point, and he pops back up in Solo, and then from there he pops up in Rebels, where he finally ends, on Tatooine. But in that time period, we also know that he crashes for a little bit on that Sith planet. We find that on Rebels. But Maul is the only Maul. Once we get all that information about Maul, we'll have the one of the most complete histories of a character in the Star Wars universe. Yeah. The other character being Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader. For the most part, we have like a complete history. I wonder at some point, when do we get the young Darth Maul, content? I know there is graphic novels in the expanded universe that kind of talk about his upbringing, Palpatine finding him, and all that fun stuff.
I think for all of these these gaps we have right now, it's just a matter of time and kind of what the form it takes. Is it a video game? Is it a live action show? Is it an animated show? Is it a graphic novel? I think all of these holes. I mean, basically any hole between episodes 2 and 3 has been published. Like, we know,
we know
every single day and every single planet of like
family dramas,
the entire Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen with a lot of the. We're getting more and more stuff between episodes 3 and 4. I think we're going to get some pre-episode 1 stuff, maybe with the Obi-Wan show.
And we're getting more, episodes, post-episode 6 content too, right? So Squadrons is going to take place after episode 6.
Yep.
Battlefront 2's story has pieces after episode 6. Mandalorian after episode 6.
A lot of post-episode 6 stuff, huh?
That's because it's the most, the most interesting period and the most well-documented period is going to be, episode, I would argue, episode, end of episode 2 to, just after episode 6. We have all of that, so much stuff happening during that period. So many characters that you actually see through, 3 generations, if you will.
And as we've talked about on this podcast before, the sequel trilogy isn't the most well-received thing, but Disney has proven before, or Star Wars has proven before, that you can kind of elevate that content when you add more context to it. And there's so little context to the sequel trilogy, right? There's 30 years. We don't know really what happened much between those 30 years right now. you can really there's still a lot of Luke and Han and Leia story to tell that you can go back and you can tell. And beyond those characters, everything that's happening in the universe, what really led to the First Order and their rise and all that type of stuff could really elevate those movies a little bit more.
It could use some love, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Would you watch a Disney Plus, I don't know, I'm just going to throw a random, 8-season
8 seasons?
Game of Thrones-esque story about Luke, Leia, and Han that takes place for the moment after Death Star 2 blows up to the moment that Han dies, essentially?
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah, why not?
That'd be amazing.
I mean, if it's good.
I think what Star Wars should do to start filling in some of these gaps is have this like anthology type show. Maybe it's each episode is just a different story in the universe. Maybe it's each season's a different story in the universe. But just like bring in some writers and some creators and let them start filling in the gaps.
It's not a bad idea.
Like it would be fun.
Are you talking about what they tried to do with the movies?
No.
Like
like
Star
Solo.
Wars stories movies or whatever? Like Solo and Rogue One was supposed to be this idea of like fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Each movie is about its own thing.
Yeah, but do that on Disney Plus. Do that do it on don't make it theatrical movies because you've proved like there's definitely an appetite for those types of movies, but clearly people when they want to see Star Wars in the movies, they want the big stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago for like the Avengers and stuff. Start making the movies, the Avenger movies, and everything else is Disney Plus and kind of that lower tier content.
Well, also for like
lower tier.
We're also like Disney's already proven this with The Mandalorian. Like they created with Jon Favreau, they didn't create a whole new level of tech, but they've gone about doing a different way in which, oh dear, there's no space on that memory card left.
Oh dear.
What do you want me to do?
That's fine. We'll just keep going.
Okay, so Jon Favreau with The Mandalorian kind of showed how they can make these interactive, cool-looking landscapes and worlds, but do it in a digital set and not have to travel anywhere. You know, we got some of those visuals are up there with like the new sequel trilogy, right? Like the stuff that we saw in like Episode 7, where she goes and finds Luke for the first time. You know, on the cliffs of Morin. Basically, they actually flew out, obviously, to Ireland to go and get that. But with Jon Favreau's tech, they're able to do this in, you know, Manhattan Beach on a soundstage, right? And they're just building very little props. Your costs are way, way less. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series, right, is going to be using the same tech as well. So you're still going to get that high level of Star Wars visuals for the small screen at a much, much lower cost, which I think is going to be really, really good.
And I think that's the key. Like, I think, especially as we're looking at this pandemic and the role of movie theaters, you know, production, you know, we're going to have a glut of, first of all, blockbusters that haven't been released, but no one's going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to spend $200 million for this blockbuster that may or may not make profits. It's like, whoa, we got to kind of maybe lower what movies we're bringing out into the theater. And it just makes sense. What can you do that's a lower cost that can go on these streaming services that you now have? And for Disney, they're in a prime spot to just kind of like, okay, the smaller stories and all that type of stuff we do on the streaming service, and then we have the big event team-ups type stuff on the big screen. Avengers, Star Wars episode blank, you know, and let people wait and build anticipation for that instead of release 800 of those movies in a year.
I mean, they'll make less money, right? Like if there's 800 movies, you know.
In a year?
Yeah, in a year.
Yeah.
And you go and see all 800 because you have a podcast to do, then they're going to make more money, so.
Yeah, but you're also gonna oversaturate the market, and then
alienate some people.
People are gonna quit on it.
Yeah, but I don't know. They increasingly made more money as they put out more films.
No,
so.
but listen, but think about this, right? The MCU, right? They haven't had a movie come out in over a year now.
Amazing.
Mostly because of the pandemic.
Right.
But people are being like, I'm itching for an MCU movie because it's been a while.
Right.
The gap in time has helped build anticipation. And by the time you get to the next Star Wars movie in 2023, it'll have been, 4 years since the last Star Wars movie?
Not long enough.
I guarantee you, people are going to be like, I need a Star Wars movie. It's been 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, I've been waiting for this. It's gonna it's gonna.
I don't know why, but I imagine like some like guy sitting on his couch be like, "My God, there's not been a Star Wars movie. I need a Star Wars movie."
Take the conversation we had at the beginning of the podcast, Tenet, right? And the crazy people that are gonna jump the border and protest and stuff.
Krishna.
Because they've been waiting for this movie for over a year and it's been delayed and stuff. You're building anticipation for this movie. I want my movie. Now, if they gave them the movie back in April, would people care as much?
You sound like a Karen. I want my movie.
Wow,
Arjuna. Wow. Somebody clip that and then call Arjuna Karen. He said it. He said he wants his movie.
I'm quoting the theoretical
movie Karens.
Yeah, the movie
and Kevin's.
Krishna. Is Krishna the movie equivalent to Karen?
Yes.
That's
there
a
we go.
Name to
the
use.
Krishnas.
The Krishnas of the world.
Krishnas of the world.
Last piece of Disney news here. Daredevil potentially coming to Spider-Man. So Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil in the Netflix original Daredevil show, unfortunately got 3 seasons, 1 crossover season, and then they obviously pulled the plug.
I completely forgot about the Defenders thing.
Yeah, that shit sucked.
Yeah,
but the rumor right now is that potentially he may find a home in the Spider-Man films. What do we think? Do we want to see more Daredevil? Do we need more Daredevil?
I like it. I like the idea of putting those characters in totally different contexts.
Right.
And
at
least from the 90s comic, the 90s Spider-Man, Daredevil and Spider-Man are like this. They're boys, they're homies.
And the context you're going to get is the lawyer side of Daredevil, because the rumor is for this third Spider-Man movie, he's going to need representation because he's been outed, right? Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yep.
So he needs legal help, and allegedly
he's got to lawyer up. According
to the internet and rumors, the Marvel head honchos are deciding, okay, which famous lawyers within Marvel are there?
It's not a whole lot.
Matt Murdock is probably the most famous, but there's also I forget what the character's name is, but the person who is She-Hulk is another lawyer.
She-Hulk?
And they're like, we could do that, but they are doing a She-Hulk Disney Plus show.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, which is going to have Mark Ruffalo.
Nice.
But they decided
as She-Hulk.
Yeah. yes. But they've decided probably Daredevil makes more sense.
That would be great.
And now I believe this is the year of that, because of the deal that Disney and Netflix had. Netflix controlled the rights to those characters that they had, and exclusively could stream it. Well, now I think this year by the fall, those shows will come off of Netflix, and Disney gets the rights back to kind of do their own thing, and they could recast or they could keep the same ones. And it sounds like if these articles and these internet rumors are to be believed, they're leaning towards keeping all the original actors, but the immortal Danny Rand.
They would keep him or would not keep him?
I don't think they've even approached asking the actor if he wants to come back.
I mean,
the Immortal Iron Fist was garbage.
It was not great. I mean, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, those castings I think were really, really good. Jessica Jones, great first season. Second season, meh.
Yeah.
Luke Cage.
Did you guys even watch the 3rd season
of Jessica Jones?
Yeah.
No.
I haven't watched it either.
Wait, did I? I don't remember. It was so long ago.
You probably started and stopped.
I know with Luke Cage, I didn't finish season 2.
Yeah, I didn't start season 2.
Yeah, that one was tricky. But the Defenders, that was a thing at one point.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
That was a thing.
I wonder if those shows are better than we remember.
I'm almost. It's none of us have seen Jessica Jones season 3. I almost want to challenge us to watch it and review it for the pod. If you guys are down,
yeah,
it might be interesting at the least.
Yeah.
Just to see if these characters are coming back. I mean, it's like 8 episodes. It's 8 hours.
That's 8 hours of my life I can't get back.
You could just throw it on while you work.
Yes, Miko Matter, there is the 3rd season of Jessica Jones, allegedly. At least that's what Arjuna tells us.
I think there's a 3rd season.
And it sounds like he's going to try and make us watch it.
Let me check real quick. Yep, there's a 3rd season.
Oh, my God.
3rd season, yeah.
All right, well.
And it aired last year. June 14th, 2019 is when it was released on Netflix.
Wow. Last piece of superhero news. Justice League, the Snyder Cut, we got a brief glimpse of Superman decked out in a black suit.
Yes.
and he's talking to Alfred while Alfred was working on the Batmobile.
Oh, great.
The big question here, obviously, is like after getting these like sneak peeks and these drops and stuff, are they actually filming new scenes for this, or are they reusing footage?
So the rumor comes from an Instagram
Uproxx.
post from Gal Gadot.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
And
They're reshooting.
she posted an image on her Instagram that said, "Wear your mask," right?
Oh, okay.
And she's wearing her Wonder Woman costume. She has the tiara, and it's like a sepia tone. She has the mask up. But what eagle-eyed fans noticed was in the background of this image, right? It looked like she was shooting. People don't know if this is like a current photo or from back in however long ago. But she's in a desert area, and it looks like there's a soldier decked out in the. Do you guys remember in Batman v Superman?
No.
The
Christian blocked that movie.
the Batman Dream where it's like the desert
Oh, I do
and
remember.
they have
Yeah.
the soldiers.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a soldier in that uniform in the background. So people are like, oh, well, we know there's desert scenes in Wonder Woman 1984, so it could be a photo from that. But people think it's a scene from that and that they're reshooting that currently right now in secret.
I don't know. I just pulled up the photo here. It looks like it's like one of the craft services people, and he's wearing an apron. That's what it looks like to
What?
me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
good.
know.
See if our viewers can see it for those watching right now on
Hold on.
Twitch
So
and
that's
YouTube and stuff.
that's the. Is it focused?
No, it's out of focus.
Focus, you dumb camera.
Kind of focusing.
Yeah, it's good.
But then if you zoom in, there's this. This is the person in the back.
I don't know. It's a story
I
nonetheless.
think it's a whole lot of nothing. And I agree. Miko Matter has comment. They better not reshoot. That's cheating. And now we can just upgrade movies between releases. Yeah, I agree. If there's a Snyder Cut that exists, release the cut. Don't try and make it better after the fact.
That's the whole joke. There
100%
was no
agree.
Snyder Cut.
I know. That's the idea is that there is no Snyder Cut and that they're now scrambling.
Also, Zack Snyder has been they've been doing some conventions, like there was Comic-Con this past weekend. They've been doing online panels, and Zack Snyder labeled his Snyder Cut of Justice League as an Elseworlds property.
What does that mean?
Elseworlds is a famous DC line of comics where it's basically like one-offs.
Okay.
You know, like they can take major stories and then change events to whatever the creator wants. And there's a rumor now going that Warner Brothers will label some of their, basically these one-off DC movies as Elseworlds. So
Is Joker?
the Joker would be Elseworlds. The Batman that's coming out will be Elseworlds. This Justice League Zack Snyder Cut will be Elseworlds, while there's the DCEU continuity line, whatever the hell that is.
That's amazing. That's like we want to make all these movies. Okay, what do we have in our comic book arsenal that we could use? Ooh, this thing, this Elseworld thing. That's amazing.
Elseworlds.
Elseworlds. Crazy.
Oh my God.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for us here on the pod, guys. Thank you for listening. You can always find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram at Was It Good BTM, and as always, we live stream these pods every Monday afternoon, evening on Twitch.tv/wasitgood. Pods drop every Tuesday. Goodbye.
Bye.
For those watching, hit us with questions.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who engaged with us. Also, this seems to be a better time for engagement.
Well, I think it just depends on a bunch of different things. He can direct, but please don't let him write anymore. Are you
Zack
talking
Snyder.
Snyder or are you
Yeah.
talking Krishner?
What?
Yes.
Wait, I don't do either.
We know.
We're going offline on YouTube and Facebook.
Goodbye.